everyone. My name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD 89 VA Claims Consulting, Leave No Vet Behind, and also I'm a United States Army veteran. Today I'm bringing you another educational video as it pertains to the VA disability compensation claims process. But before I get into the topic for today, I want to let everyone know I'm going to discuss a particular issue in this video about something I've been seeing that the VA has been doing, and I think is going to impact a lot of veterans. So definitely watch this video and stay tuned, and I'll discuss it later on. So with that being said, today I'm going to be discussing what is a rater hearing. What is a RVSR hearing? Not a high-level review, informal conference, not a BVA judge hearing, but a rater hearing. Today I'm going to be showing you 5 slides. There's going to be information from the N21 manual and the 38 CFR. So with that being said, let's take a look at slide number 1. Okay, so slide number 1 is, it gives the definition of a hearing. And as in all my other videos, when I highlight something as red, when I highlight something in red, it's something that I want you to pay close attention to. Okay, so definition of a hearing. A hearing is a formal recorded proceeding wherein a party presents sworn or affirmed testimony, other evidence, and or argument relevant to an issue pending adjudication before the decision maker. Okay, and in this instance, what we're talking about today, the decision maker is the RVSR / rating specialist. A claimant is entitled to a hearing on any issue involved in a claim before VA issues notice of a decision on an initial or supplemental claim. This includes a hearing in connection with proposed adverse action. And this adverse action we're going to talk about in a later slide, okay? A hearing is not available in connection with a request for a high-level review, okay? So what that means in a nutshell, if the veteran receives some adverse action, in that notification letter, you'll see that, you know, if you have a certain amount of time to respond, meaning whether for hearing or high-level review, it could be 30, 60 days. I don't remember. I know it used to be 60. I think that it's 30 days now. Okay, so when you get that that rating decision, where if it's talking about to sever service connection, proposing to reduce overall rating, to remove a dependent, or whatever the adverse action is, you're entitled to an RVSR hearing. I used to conduct those back when I used to be a rating specialist, and sometimes they went pretty good and some didn't, because sometimes veteran they weren't prepared for them, you know. So you definitely want to make sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed as it pertains to if you request a rater hearing. I don't know during this whole COVID pandemic how they're doing those, because the majority of the VA employees are working from home. So I don't know if they have a certain type of capability where they can conduct these from the government computer at home. So slide number 2. Slide number 2 is a 38 CFR 3.103 subpart D. Now, keep in mind, I list the M21 references or the 38 CFR, but sometimes these references or regulations are too long to put in this particular slide. So you want to make sure you can copy these regulations or references down, and then you can go to the VA website and look them up and read them in their entirety, okay? So that's why I make sure I list the regulation of references. In this states, the right to a hearing. And in red, upon a request, a claimant is entitled to a hearing on any issue involved in a claim within the purview of Part 3 of this chapter. And the next slide, we're going to talk about Part 3, okay? So purview of Part 3 of this chapter before VA issues notice of a decision on an initial or supplemental claim, a hearing is not available in connection with a request for a high-level review under, and that's 38 CFR 3.2601. And also I highlight in red video conference capabilities. Okay, so what does that mean? You can have a video conference. So a lot of veterans, they live in remote areas and they're not close to the regional office. They could go to VA Medical Center or somewhere where they have video conferencing capability close to the veteran home, and they can do those video conferences, but that would have to be set up in ahead of time. So, if you're asking for a hearing, then, in that request, you want to say, hey, I want to do it by video conference. Please get that scheduled for me and set that up and let me know where I need to report or if I can do it from home. But that would be something that you have to request and set up with the VA, okay? But there are other locations that it can be done. If like I said, I don't know, since the regional offices are closed to the public, I don't know how the VA is doing that during this whole COVID-19 thing, okay? I know some hospitals have reopened, they're scheduling. You may be able to do it there, maybe a vet center or an outpatient clinic or something like that. But once you submit that request, then it's up to the VA to schedule it. But just keep in mind, when you submit that request and you're far away from a VA facility, you let them know that and ask them, okay, what are my options? I'm closer to here, I'm closer, this are some VA facilities close to me, or can I do the video conference from home? And then they should reach out to you and make sure those get set up for you, okay? So slide number 3. Slide number 3 is the exceptions. The exceptions of the part 3 of the previous slide. So it shows the exceptions, okay? And I'm not going to read all of these, but what they're meaning by these exceptions is the adverse action, okay? In the first slide, we talked about the adverse action, okay? And what that means is here, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is some examples of adverse action. And I mentioned them earlier, and it could be, like I said, they're proposing to sever, proposing to reduce, proposing to discontinue dependent claim or remove a dependent from your ward, or they did remove a dependent from your ward. Those are some examples of adverse action. So let's just say if a veteran is service connected for PTSD, they go in for an exam, and that 70% has been in effect less than 5 years, but their overall rating, their overall evaluation is 90%, and it's going to move that 90% down to 80%. So in that case, the adverse action is going to affect your overall evaluation, okay? And when that happens, they have to do a proposal to reduce, okay? And then at that time, you can request a RVSR or rated hearing. And when you do that, that freezes that. They can't reduce it until that hearing takes place. And that should give you time to, if you have a private psychiatrist or private psychologist or a doctor, depending on what the issue is, then if there's a DBQ available, you can go and get that done and then submit that to the rating specialist before the hearing, if at all possible. If not, then during the hearing, you want to ask that rater, say, hey, excuse me, I have a DBQ, a disability benefit questionnaire completed, and I think this will show that I should be still service connected at 70% for my PTSD, or it shows that should be granted a higher evaluation of 100%. So that's an option you have as well. If you have a representative or lawyer, hopefully your lawyers or representative is in contact with the RVSR before the hearing, and that conversation can be had at that particular time. Okay, I know when I rated and I conducted a hearing, I would always reach out to the representative or lawyer. Sometimes I was unsuccessful. I wouldn't hear anything back, and I wouldn't see them until the day of the actual hearing. But sometimes I was successful in getting a hold of a lawyer or the representative, and sometimes then the hearing wasn't even necessary because the veteran would say, okay, I have a DBQ, it's complete, sufficient for rating purposes. They would send it, yep, I can use this to either keep you at the valuation you're at or grant an increase, but I would need a VA Form 21-4138 from you stating that you forego this hearing in lieu of, the DBQ. So there's certain options, but again, if you have a representative or a lawyer, those conversations definitely need to be had. If you don't, then hopefully the rating specialist reaches out to you before that. If not, you in that letter, then you can ask, you can call the 800 number and just see if that VSR will reach out to their rater and say, hey, I don't have a representative. The vet called in and he needs to, have a conversation with you. Then, instead of having it with a rep or a lawyer, then they can have it with you. Hopefully, they're willing to talk to you before the hearing, okay? So slide number 4. In slide number 4, we're talking about requesting, canceling, and rescheduling hearings. This is M21 reference, and it states a claimant may request, cancel, or reschedule a hearing in writing, by email, by fax, by telephone, or in person, okay? And this happens a lot, life throws a lot of things at us. But again, just like in some other videos, and I stated, if you're scheduled for a compensation and pension exam and you can't make it, you definitely want to notify the VA. And in this case, you want to do the same thing in, call in, fax or mail, is up to you. But you want to do it in ample enough time where they know that you're canceling and you want to reschedule it, or just flat out cancel it. If it's, like I said earlier, if your representative or lawyer or whomever is representing you says, hey, we had a conversation with the rater, there's no need for a hearing because the vet is going to submit a DBQ within 30 days or has a DBQ from a private doctor, then you need to cancel that, okay? And one way, like I said, if you do it in writing, you can do it on VA Form 21-4138, or you can just call 800-827-1000. But that would be your decision, okay? So the last slide number 5, where to hold a hearing. Like I stated earlier, the regional offices are closed, and sometimes vets are not close to a regional office. Like I say, they live in remote areas, and it could be a 6 or 7 hour drive to the closest regional office. So here in red states this hearing should be before a hearing official at a SOJ via video conference whenever possible. So that stands for station of jurisdiction, okay? So let me just give you an example. Let's say you live in Central Illinois. Let's pick a town. Centralia, Illinois, or take that back, Belleville, Illinois, okay, which is, I believe, 30 minutes east of St. Louis. And the regional office in Chicago, Illinois, has jurisdiction over your claim, and you request a hearing. Now, from Belleville to Chicago, I want to say maybe it's about 3.5 hours, maybe 4, depending on which way you go. But there's a regional office in St. Louis, which is only 30 minutes away, okay? So if you know that, you put that request in, and you know that Chicago has jurisdiction of your claim, you can request that you do that hearing at the regional office in St. Louis, or another vet center outpatient clinic close to where you live, in, around Belleville. But that's just to give you an example. Sometimes veterans are further away, but that's what they're saying in that particular reference, that you can do a hearing at another regional office or another location, but jurisdiction is still with their location. So in this example, Chicago, the regional office in Chicago will have that particular jurisdiction over that claim. So the person, if they do it by video, you could go to the St. Louis regional office. They should have a room set up, and then you could talk to that person by video in Chicago. Now, like I said earlier, during this whole COVID-19 pandemic, I don't know how they're scheduling those because the regional offices are closed to the general public. So you definitely, when in that request, that's a question that you want to ask. You know, hey, I'm requesting a hearing per rating decision dated such and such. I would like for it to be by video conference. Please set that up and let me know if I need to do it from home or if I need to go to a remote location or something like that. And they should state that in that letter that they send you, saying, notifying you of when that hearing is scheduled, because in that letter they have to state where you need to go, or if they're setting something up where you can do it from home on your phone or by Zoom link or whatever, it should be in that letter. If it's not, then you need to get on the phone and start calling. If like I said, if you have a representative or lawyer, they're supposed to take care of all that for you. But if you don't, then it's up to you. If it's not in that letter, detailed instructions are not in that letter, then you want to pick the phone up and call the 800-827-1000 and ask them, say, hey, you didn't tell me where I need to go, what's going on, and go from there and get some information that way, okay? So I hope that I was able to shed a little bit of light on what a rater / RVSR hearing is, okay? Like I said, it's not the informal conference for a high-level review or BVA judge hearing. It's a rater or RVSR hearing. Okay, so with that being said, it's something that I've been noticing. I've been getting a lot of comments that the VA is doing. I'm getting a lot of comments about it on some of my YouTube videos. I'm getting emails through my website, and also it's happening to some clients of mine, okay? And what that is it's pertaining to these DBQs, okay? There's still a lot of confusion. Are they still using them? Aren't they still using them? But this is what's going on. They have a lot of veterans that are service connected for a particular condition, and they're submitting DBQs. These DBQs are not expired, and these DBQs are sufficient for rating purposes. And so when they submit it to the VA, they're getting calls from third-party contractors saying, hey, we've been contracted by the VA to do an exam for this particular condition. And then the veteran's like, wait a minute, I submitted a DBQ, it wasn't expired, it's sufficient for rating purposes. What's going on? Why are they doing that? And I don't have an answer. I don't know why. And it's VSRs, Veteran Service Representatives, the majority of the time, that are scheduling these exams. Now, the conflict becomes, this is where the issue is. Some veterans that I talk to that submit DBQs and they're sufficient for rating purposes, it goes right to the rater, it gets rated, that's it. But then other veterans submitting sufficient DBQs, that doesn't happen. So there's an inconsistency with the VSRs at the VA scheduling these exams, okay? So the reason why I bring that up is because you want to be educated on, if you have a DBQ for, let's say, an increase, for example, and you know that it's sufficient for rating purposes, you want to be educated on, do you go to the exam or not? You want to know, if you do go to the exam, what could happen? And you want to be educated on, if you don't go to the exam, what could happen? I talked about in a couple of my other videos, that happened to me on my last claim, and I opted not to go to the exam, and I still was able to obtain an increase based on the DBQ. Now, I knew that my DBQ was sufficient for rating purposes, so I'm not going to get into all the details, but I knew it was sufficient for rating purposes, and I didn't want to go in to a third-party contractor that never treated me before, didn't know any of my history, completing an exam for me, because then that would have been conflicting medical evidence. So again, you have to become educated on what could happen if you go, what could happen if you don't, and then you have to weigh your options, and then you have to make that decision, okay? So I wanted to just share that with everyone. And if I get any other information that comes up that I think is valuable, especially around this issue, I'm definitely going to talk about it in any video that I do, okay? So with that being said, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button, make sure you share this video, and also I'm going to leave a link to my upcoming educational training events that I have coming up next month. I just did a live Q&A today. I had about 4 or 5 veterans there. They had a lot of questions, and I think I was able to answer most of those questions. I definitely found it very informative and engaging. So the link that I'm providing you down below is upcoming training that I have for September. So I hope you sign up. Make sure you leave a comment. I try to answer all the comments here on YouTube. If I don't get to it within a couple of days, just be patient, but I try to get an answer or to respond to everyone that leaves me a comment. So again, please like this video, subscribe, hit that notification button, share. I know it's the weekend, so make sure you be safe. Thank you for your service, and thank you for watching this video.